and it would be introduced by a TV special or theatrical movie, which would be a better version of the great Fireman Untitled. But that might be another video I'll talk about soon. Maybe.
Well, this was certainly an interesting video to make, I suppose. Why the hell is analysing your own AU difficult? Hello everyone! So, I've wanted to talk about my AU for a while now, but I didn't know how. Since mid-ish 2022, I've gotten back into the Fireman Sam franchise due to personal reasons and its charm. I've made rewrites, OCs, headcanons, the lot. But I've decided to make a video explaining some headcanon facts of specific stuff, and me explaining my OCs so you get a better understanding of what their characters are, and their appearances, etc. This is partially based on the Thomas Sinnick's headcanon videos, so check them out if you have some time. But now, let's go through some obscure bits about my Fireman Sam AU. Okay, I will go through main OCs and what makes them tick, if you know what I mean. These OCs are the most important in my opinion, and makes Fireman Sam gradually continue a storyline and
so on and so forth.
Whatever. So, first off, Molly is a woman who originates from America, but her heart is at Pontypandy. She is Sam's wife who has a passion for drawing. She mostly draws things when things come into her mind. She sometimes spends time with Sarah and James when Sam is on duty at the fire station. She is a kind and supportive person, but can be quite panicky when some accidents get out of hand, and sometimes serious with some things, and does know when to put Norman in place. She sometimes helps out at Bella's cafe, and she gets along well with Bella. Her and Sam have a great relationship, and both are inseparable. She does also give Sam ideas for inventions, and sometimes it works. She has long strawberry blonde hair and wears a light pink sweater and dark pink skirt. She speaks with a normal American accent with a slight Welsh tone. For my inspirations of her, she was inspired by Sarah Clifton mostly, as I wanted to give Sam a love interest that isn't fucking Penny or Dilys, because that is dull and boring and lazy in my opinion. However, some other characters she was inspired by were Sylvia from Three Men and a Little Baby / Little Lady duology, Ellie from the Perfect Trilogy known as Ice Age, which definitely doesn't have a pointless 4th and 5th movies, and a few more characters which I can't entirely remember. Next up is Norris Steele. He is quite a proper geezer. He is the 5th firefighter at the Pontypandy Fire Service. He thinks he's a know-it-all, but does act quite schoolboyish around his father, Station Officer Basil Steele. He gets along quite well with Elvis, who sometimes sings along with him and tries out some of his cooking. He was close friends with Sam in their childhoods, but Sam does think his clumsiness could be quite silly, and thinks he's a grown-up Norman at times. He has blondish brown hair and is the same shape and style of Basil's. He has a Tom Selleck-esque moustache and is slightly taller than his father. He speaks with a Cockney accent. For my inspirations for him, he was based off when CGI screwed up Station Officer Steele's name from Basil to Norris for some reason. I decided to use this cock-up and do something interesting with it, and thus Firefighter Norris Steele was born. I'd say his personality is sort of a mix between Rodney Trotter and Jay Cartwright. Now, let's get to Heather Evans. She was an auxiliary bus driver when Trevor was busy as an auxiliary fireman. She is Trevor's niece, and when Trevor retired as an auxiliary fireman, she became a teaching assistant at the Pontypandy Primary School. She gets along well with students like Sarah and James and does put Norman in his place sometimes when he does misbehave. She became great friends with Elvis, and the two became an eventual couple, as both have an interest in music and cooking. She has long black hair, wears a greeny blue jumper and purple trousers. For her inspirations, I was often confused wondering who did Trevor's bus rounds when he was an auxiliary fireman, so so I created Heather. She is similar to Stacey Shipman from Gavin and Stacey and has a similar voice to her. Get to Pat. Pat is a trade and salesman who tries to deal with get-rich-quick schemes. He drives a blue Piaggio 8 three-wheeled van and often sells anything like TVs, brooms, toys, etc. They can be stuff from the UK or places abroad. He was actually the person who gave Bella the TV in Telly Trouble, and due to his dodgy deals, the TV was faulty and that's why it exploded. He wears a greenish-brown cap with a woolly jacket. He also wears a blue shirt and 2 watches on each wrist. For his inspirations, he was based on Sam Waldron, as I thought because Postman Pat had a character called Sam, it would be funny if Fireman Sam had a character called Pat. Due to some of the characters from series 1 to 4, like Dillis and Still based on sitcom characters, I thought it would be a nice homage to do a character which has similar inspirations, so I based him off Del Boy from Only Fools and Horses, and has a similar personality to him. I'd say he has a voice similar to Ronnie Barker, I think. And last but not least, we get to Joanna and Crispin. They are Sarah and James' parents, not those fake imposters and CGI. Joanna is Sam's older twin sister. She is a chill person who works with her husband Crispin. Crispin is a gardener who grows potatoes in a allotment. He is a happy-go-lucky man who cares for his children and wife. Crispin and Joanna sell potatoes and other fruit and veg at the Evanstown market sales. They can be quite busy, so Sarah and James visit their Uncle Sam when they are busy. They look like grown-up, gender-bent versions of Sarah and James when they first appeared in 1986 books and 1987 annual. For inspirations, I didn't really think Charlie and Bronwyn were that interesting. Like, why are you a fisherman in a town in the countryside? But still, I decided to make one of their parents Sam's twin, as I thought it'd be funny to have Sarah and James' mother having a similar relationship to them with Sam. Also, I based Crispin off Ross and Cromarty from The Adventures of Portland Bill. Alright, let's do some facts, and headcanons and other stuff, and you know. Now I will go and say obscure facts and headcanons with characters and stuff, so here goes. First headcanon is Pontypandy is actually located in between the hills of Pontypridd and Tonypandy, along with its sister towns, Evanstown and Hilltown. I placed Pontypandy in between here because I thought it would be more fitting to place it in between Pontypridd and Tonypandy, the towns it was named after. Number 2, Basil Steele is from London and started off his fire service career during the Blitz in World War II. When the war ended in 1945, him and his fiancée Doris moved to Pontypandy and had 2 children. One was Pat in 1946 and the other was Norris in 1952. Headcanon 3. Joanna Crispin Sarah James's last name is Gingle, after David Gingle, one of the co-creators of Fireman Sam. I thought it was fitting because Sam's last name is Jones after David Jones. Headcanon number 4. Sam and Molly were best friends as children. When they were teens, they became a couple, although when they were 17, Molly had to move back to her home place in New York City. Sam was sad and stayed single, although sometime in 1984, she moved back and Sam was most surprised. Like Sam, she had a hobby which was painting. However, she got bored in New York City and moved back to Pontypandy. They became close friends again and became a couple again, and soon enough got married. Sarah and James thought she was suspicious, but she soon grew on them, and happy when they do stuff with her and Sam. Headcanon number 5. Sam's personality is based on his one from the early books. He's quite clumsy and forgetful, but knows what is safe and what isn't, if he's not distracted by a specific invention, of course. In fact, he's quite similar to Wallace from Wallace and Gromit and a bit like Shrek. Headcanon number 6. One day, Jupiter broke down and was rolled back to the fire station. Sam tried to fix it, but eventually Station Officer Steele got a new fire engine that was called Jupiter 2. Jupiter 1 was eventually fixed, but Sam didn't want to see her being scrapped, so Jupiter 1 was given to him, and Jupiter 1 became the Samuel Peyton Inventing Mobile. Number 7. This is what Sam's family tree looks like. Number 8. The songs from the 1989 radio cassette are actually songs Sam made up that he sings himself to describe Pontypandy residents, and his sister sings along as well, similar to the songs in classic Postman Pat. Headcanon number 9. Series 1 to 2 in the 1986 books take place in 1982, Series 3 takes place in 1983, Series 4 takes place in 1984, and some annual stories, Bud's books and original stories take place from 1985 to 1987. Number 10. As a child, Sam and sometimes Joanna mostly spent time with his granddad William Pope, last name after Maldwin Pope, the singer of the original theme song. He was like Sam. He invented crazy things and was a fireman in his early years. Sam loved the things he created and his old fireman stories, but then he sadly passed away in the early 1970s, which inspired Sam to become a fireman and create inventions based on his work. Number 11. Joshua Jones is actually Sam and Joanna's younger cousin, whom Sam sometimes visits in Hilltown on his days off, if he's not doing things with Sarah and James, of course. As a young child, Josh did look up to Sam like an older brother, and both have a strong connection ever since. Headcanon 12. Edwin Carbuncle was a schemy businessman who tried to use Sam's inventions for schemy deals, with trying to make Sam look like a fool, but Mr. Brown, Neville as I like to call him, was Edwin's sidekick and stopped him. Sam's house ended up getting burned down in events, but Edwin lost and was arrested. Sam would get a cottage, which was Molly's childhood home, and both have been there ever since. Well, for the remainder of the OG timeline. And finally, headcanon number 13, a sequel series takes place after the OG series, which is set in the 1990s. It basically has Sam being a station officer, Elvis being a senior officer, and Arnold and Ellie being junior ones. I might make a big video on that one day. Alright, so this was an interesting video. I didn't know how to make a big analysis video on everything, but I might make more videos based on my AU in the future. Maybe some based on how Pontypandy is located and set up, or maybe a video where I rewatch CGI Fireman Sam episodes and analyse that fucking era.
Oh god, no.
But until next time, cheerio!